Hello everyone, welcome back to Car Fix. Today we're going to review and use and demo the EASIHOLD stone and mulch binder. It's basically a glue for gluing down stone, wood chipping, pea gravel to an area where you don't want it to be kicked up and all over the place. So for example, round patios, in gaps between the wall and where your patio starts, round paving stones, that kind of thing. It's just some sort of polymer glue. I don't actually know what it's made of. It doesn't actually say on the bottle, but basically it glues your stones in place. And here is a quick rundown of how to use it. So you spray it onto your stones, you rake over the stones to turn them over so the glue covers the whole stone. You do a secondary spray on top, you leave it for 24 hours, and then you do a third and final spray the next day to seal them in place fully. This needs to be done on a dry and warm day. It can't be done in the rain or wet, so you need to make sure the day you're doing it on, or for a couple of days, it's going to be dry. It comes in a bottle like this, a spray bottle. This costs £15, or you can get a 5-litre tub that you can pour into your own spray bottles, and that's around £40 from Amazon. I'll try and leave some links if you want to buy any of it. But the next shot you will see is me using the product on a 15mm gap between the wall of my house and my patio, and I'll give you some results of how it looks finished and actually demoing putting the product onto the floor. So let's move on to that now. So yeah, we're back now where I've previously laid these. These have been down for a few days. Add the 2 pre-coats and the 3rd coat, and let's see how hard they're in the ground. I've just got a screwdriver here to poke them with. You can see these are pretty thick and they're in there. They will move. It doesn't set them absolutely solid like resin would, but it just glues them down so they don't move. As you can see, compared to some loose ones, if I compare it to some loose ones here, and then go back to the glued ones, you can see they do move, but they are stuck in there. What I've actually done though is that test patch there, there's a lot of bigger stones in it. So for the patch, for the demo over here, I have this pot here where I've tried to select small stones, and any ginormous ones I'll pull out. So all you have to do is basically pour them in, level them out a bit, you have to over level them at the first start because they need spraying first and then mixing up again for the secondary part. I'm probably going to have to wait for these stones to dry actually a bit before I spray the product on, so I'll come back when they've dried off a bit. It's now a couple of days later because it's been raining, but I've moved across to in front of the door, and I've obviously laid the stones out like I did in the previous section, and we're going to spray them and turn them. So it's as easy as that. The stones are laid out nice and flat and you just literally spray it on. Apparently it says you don't need a lot. But I give them a good soaking just because. And turn them over.
these being bigger stones, I like to give them a good turn, so we've got plenty of contact points with the glue. And now they've had the first spray in turn, you just spray over them again. And that's it, you just leave them to dry, and tomorrow you put the final coat on, and that is the job complete. So yeah, now the stones have had the final coat and actually a couple of days to dry. Here's how solid they are in there, so you can see that they are stuck, but if I pull it, it's going to move and come up pretty easy. But you see, if you just tap on them, they're not moving, and that's all the way along. It does leave it with a slightly wet looking surface, but as you can see, they're stuck in there, they're not moving when I scrape it, so it does work. And here's in front of my door again, which I did the other day on the actual video. Down here looks like it could do with a bit more glue, maybe a couple more stones in it, but this is obviously the most walked over bit as well by the dogs and everyone else, but obviously it probably does need a bit more glue down in this section. But overall, it obviously does work, and it isn't made for stones this big. So as a solution to this, I've had this now down here for 2 or 3 days since I put the original last section of this video where I did glue it down, and I've not had any stones kicked anywhere. So it absolutely is doing its job of holding the stones in place. And I would say if you're using small stones or pea-type gravel, then it would work absolutely fine. Obviously this, it's doing a job. It's not perfect for stones these size, but obviously it wasn't made for it. So overall, I would say it does exactly what it says on the tin or bottle, and I would recommend it if you've got stones that you need to glue down in an area like this between a doorway and a patio, or a section of patio where you don't want stones kicking all over it. So that is the end of this video. If you've liked the video and description of how to use this, then please like, favourite and subscribe.